So this one, we just want to factor this polynomial by its greatest common monomial factor. So I'll rewrite it as 20y to the 6th minus 15y to the 4th plus 40y squared. And let's start with the numbers. Notice that 20 minus 15 and 40, they're all divisible by 5. So let's start there by just pulling a 5 out from each of these, or dividing each of them by 5. And then in terms of the y's, notice that y squared is the smallest. So that's the most amount of y's that we can pull out. And once we pull out this 5y squared, 20 divided by 5 would be 4, and we pulled out 2 of these y's, so we'd have 4 left. And here 5 goes into minus 15, negative 3 times, and we pull away 2 of these y's, so we'd have 2 left. And here 40 divided by 5 would be 8, and we pulled both of those y's left, so we just have plus 8 here. And of course, you can check it by redistributing. You would see that you get 5y squared times 4y to the 4th. 5 times 4 is 20. Y squared and y to the 4th. You now have 6 y's multiplied together. 5y squared times minus 3y squared would be negative 15. And y squared times y squared is y to the 4th. You now have 4 of them multiplied together. And lastly, 5y squared times 8 would become 40y squared. So we checked it. And it makes sense. So in the box, we would write 5y squared times 4y to the 4th minus 3y squared plus 8. And a lot of times I will refer to this factoring by a common factor as simple factoring. And when we get into higher level factoring techniques for polynomials, this is the one that you always want to start with. If you can pull out a common factor from each of the terms, then that will simplify the numbers. And then possibly you could continue factoring from here. But that is something that we will cover in a subsequent video. So let's do another problem. It's another area type problem. And for this one, we're given the area of the rectangle. It's this polynomial expression where the width is equal to the greatest common factor of this polynomial. And we just need to find the length and the width of the rectangle. So of course we know that the area of the rectangle is the length times the width, or vice versa. And so let's rewrite what the area is. It's 8x to the 5th plus 12x cubed plus 20x squared. And we know that whatever we're able to factor out, whatever the common factor is, that will be our width. So let's pull out from these terms the greatest common factor. And from the numbers, we have 8, 12, and 20. So we could pull out a 2 since they're all even numbers. But I encourage you to check higher even numbers. If 2 goes into it, maybe 4 does as well. And 4 would divide into 8, 12, and 20. So we can actually pull out a 4. But even if you didn't see that, you can still pull out the 2. And then at the end, you'll check and notice that you still have all even numbers on the inside, which means you can pull out another 2. So we'll pull out the 4 since 4 divides evenly into all the numbers. And the lowest amount of x's is x squared. So that's all we'll be able to pull out for x. So here, 8 divided by 4, that's 2. And we took away 2 of these x's, so we'd have 3 left. Here, 12 divided by 4 is 3. And we took away 2 of the x's, or we divided x cubed by x squared, which is just x. And we took out both of the x's here. And then we have 20 divided by 4, which is 5. And you can see based on these numbers, 2, 3, and 5, that they're all prime numbers, so we can't factor anything else out. Nothing divides evenly besides 1 into all 3 of these numbers. And the constant, the plus 5 at the end, does not have a variable. So we're not able to factor out any more of the x's. So that means that this should be our right answer. Now again, I always encourage you to check these. So on your own, you can multiply this out and just prove to yourself that it does remultiply to this polynomial here. So remember that our width is the greatest common factor, and it's a monomial. So it's going to be the 4x squared. That's our width, which means that this right here is our length. So we can put those into the box. We have 4x squared, which of course would go right here with our rectangle. And our width is this, 2x to the 3rd plus 3x plus 5, and we can put that up here. This one would have 2x cubed, this would be 3x, and this would be plus 5. And you can see visually that if you start multiplying these together, you would get back this 8x to the 5th, 12x cubed, and 20x squared for each of the boxes. And then to find the area, you just add them together.